Tim from TGY TV. This is What's That For Wednesday. This is Out Bag episode 2. Like I said in my last video, I'm going to keep the videos a little short because if I got into this, it'd be like a 3-hour video. So I'm going to break it down, segment it into some videos, like whatever, make it a whole little series. So this is going to be Out Bag number 2, but it's going to be episode number 7, I believe it, or something like that of What's That For Wednesday. But today I'm just going to focus on what's outside my bag. I'm not even going to get into any pockets. First things first, right off the very front, or, well, it'd be my front because it'd be over my shoulders, right? I have the Leatherman multi-tool. Briefly got into it a little bit last week about it. I will do an expansion episode on my Tuesday knife show on this particular tool. But, you know, it's a Leatherman. You can't go wrong with a Leatherman. I guess about $100. It's the Leatherman Sidekick. You can't beat a Leatherman. They're it when it comes to these kind of tools as far as I'm concerned. And I think that's pretty much whatever people think about it too, because, I don't know, they work good. Their blades have locks on them. Their screwdriver bits actually work on screws. You buy some cheap ones and it's supposed to be like a starhead screwdriver, and it won't even fit into any starhead screw. I've actually ran into that problem. The next thing here, I'll start getting into the back of it a bit. Mentioned it before in my knife show a few weeks back on my Homeland security knife, how it stays. It's technically not part of my bug-out bag, but I always have it locked through the handle, so if I have to grab and go, I'll have it with me. Goes on the belt. This straps around the leg. I've worn it many, many times. Pretty comfortable. I did a review on it, so I'll just do this quickly here. So if you want more detailed on the specs on this knife, watch my Homeland Security edition of my Tuesday knife show. Good heavy-duty knife. I don't think it would let you down. I've batoned with it. This works pretty good for cutting stuff. I've thrown it. The only problems we had was these screws would come loose, and I think we cracked a handle or something, but that was from a misthrow into a tree. But anyways, yeah, it's 1/4 inch full tang, approximately 1/4 inch. It's right around a 1/4 inch. I added this onto it, so like if you're chopping at something or whatever, your hand's not going to come up into the knife. I just didn't like how it didn't really have a finger guard and stuff. I always like to have it around my wrist, so, you know, you drop it down and, you know, pick it back up easily and stuff. That's just the way I am. I always like to have a wrist strap on my knives. Pretty good case. And inside the case, ferrocerium rod and striker. Even though I'll probably, like I said before, throw this out because I don't actually use it. I just use the knife blade instead. No, I'll get rid of it now. Diamond honer. Does work. Once again, another can opener. It's like I had in my Wednesday show a few weeks ago. I did a tutorial on how to use these can openers. And soapstone. This stuff here, you can write on metal, you can write on rocks, you can write on anything with this stuff. And I just find it would be a useful thing if, say, you're somewhere or whatever, you want to scrub something on a rock so you know, like, which way you came from, or maybe write a note, because if you're like scouting ahead and people need to know where you are going and stuff, you know, they can follow your chalk lines and stuff. But there's other ways also to mark trails, and I'll get into that afterwards with my bug-out bag. But like I said, if I actually dissected this whole thing in one sitting, it'd probably be 3 hours. I'm really passionate about it, and I can explain 1,001 uses for everything in here, and I really can. Next thing here is this red bungee cord with the 2 carabiners on it. Can be used for anything. Like, it's just super handy things to have. But the main reason why I have it on the outside of my bag and I have it locked on here, is I'll try to do a demonstration on some of this stuff someday, but what happens is you don't want to leave this in the ground in the mud. So you go up to a tree that's, you know, good fatness if there's trees around, hopefully. You unclip this, you wrap it around the tree, and hook it onto like a little stub or whatever, and back around onto your backpack. And it keeps your backpack like off the ground so it's not getting wet, not getting muddy. And when it's up like that too, you can still easily access all the different pockets on it. Next thing, water bottle. Spoke briefly about it last week. Stainless steel bottle. No plastic liner, so it can go right into a fire. How would you put it into a fire? Well, you would just use like your Leatherman or whatever, just whatever, like just pliers, put it in a fire, pliers, take it out of the fire. The other option too is to make a toggle. If you're more at like a base camp area set up where you're going to have a fire for like a little bit of a time, you should always, like when you have your fire area set up, you should build like a tripod to hang pots off of and cook over and all that stuff. So what you would use is just like a toggle rope system. Basically all of the toggle is a little piece of wood, and as it drops into here, it drops in straight, and then when you pull up on it, because it'll be attached to a rope, it'll catch in the lip here, and it'll suspend the bottle over top of the flames. I'll do a video on toggles someday. It's amazing what you can do with just a little piece of wood. Just you cut it, whatever, tie a rope to it, and you can suspend your pots and pans with toggle systems. You know, put this into the fire with a toggle system, whatever. But once you clear it out and boil it and stuff, you let it cool down, and you can put the cap back on. I wish I could find one with like a stainless steel lid or something that would be more heat resistant than this plastic, but I think it can handle some heat, but just not like a fire kind of heat. Plus you wouldn't want to have a cap on it anyways when it's over the fire because it would build pressure and it would actually explode. So you have that. What else is on the outside? Tarp. 9x12 tarp. They go on sale at Canadian Tire for like $3. You can build a shelter with it. There's like so many different shelters you can build. If you guys want to see me building some shelters, just comment. Ask questions, That's the thing, like, it's getting a little discouraging sometimes because I don't get a lot of views on this stuff and people just don't realize how important it is to watch this stuff and learn this kind of stuff. Like, I'm not saying the world's going to come to an end anytime soon or anything stupid like that. It's just good stuff to know. You're going on family vacation. You're all the way up north in the middle of nowhere, right? Your freaking vehicle breaks down. What do you do? I know a lot of people would stay in their vehicles, and that's, the recommended thing for most people to do, because then, some car will go by and they'll flag you down. But say you're stuck up there, and then it's been like a day or two, and you guys are still stranded. You gotta like hike out somewhere, whatever. And what do? You go totally unprepared. Like, I could strip parts out of a car and know how to survive with just parts out of a car if I had to too, but just having something like this hanging around in your vehicle or hanging around your house to take it with you on road trips and stuff. Like I said, I could build like three simple shelters out of this, maximum like 8 minutes per shelter. Very, very simple. I spoil myself a little bit because in my bag I carry around some stakes. They're plastic, but they're very, very durable, and they don't weigh like anything. They're super duper light. Bought these on sale, I think at Canadian Tire. I bought a whole big bag of them, and it was maybe like $5. And out of that bag of them, I got enough stuff to put in like a couple different bags, right? Because I have this one, I have my one that's identical to this, and then I have like my girlfriend's bag, which isn't quite as big and heavy as this one, and then I got little kids' bags. So I do have a bunch just, randomly scattered here and there. Next thing on my list of what's on the outside of my bag, carabiners. More carabiners. These carabiners, they're small. They're only like 1.5" carabiners or whatever. But I got like 50 of them off of Amazon for like $6, $7 or something like that. And these things, carabiners, are just super, super, super handy to have. Like if you're not good at tying ropes and you're having to take your tarp up and down and stuff, instead of having to tie the knot every time, you tie one knot on the end of this carabiner, and the carabiner pops right through the eyelets of your tarp. It's just, you can't beat it. When you're tearing down camp or whatever, all you have to do is just unclip it. You know? It's just they're a handy little thing to have. What else is on the outside? This is technically in a pocket, but it is on an outside pocket. And this one's readily accessible because how I was talking about marking trails and stuff, I carry around red electrical tape. Electrical tape can be used for so much stuff. Like if you cut yourself or whatever, you just take like a Kleenex or a piece of your shirt, wrap it around, and wrap a couple strips of electrical tape around. This stuff sticks so good. And this little roll is just, I don't know, I should find out the measurement on it, but there's just so much tape just on this one little roll. And this roll here I got for next to nothing. I went to a flea market one day, and this lady had a $5 fill your bag deal. So I gave her the $5, she gave me the bag. She had this big box of electrical tape. So there was red, blue, and yellow. I literally just took the whole box of it and dumped it right in the bag, filled the bag half up. I still had room. I still grabbed another 3 t-shirts on top of that, but literally I got so many rolls of this red duct tape, or electrical tape, that it's not even funny, and I paid like nothing for it. What else do I have in here? I got fishing line. Got 1, 2, 3 snares, prefabbed. Don't want to pull everything out because I don't want to end up with fish hooks on the ground, but then I have a different fishing line, and then I have another fishing line. But this fishing line here, it's a multi-strand fishing line, and it's as thin as like a 10-pound test, but it's actually as strong as I think it was like 60-pound test. It's a braid. So what I would do with this is, if I was staying in an area for a while, I seen on this show one time how the tribal people in, like, I think it was Africa or something like that, they had a line of this from like spot to spot, like buoys, and then they would take this line here and tie lines coming off of the one line, and every line has its own hook on it. It was probably on that show, River Monsters or whatever. So they were being super careful. But anyways, this stuff here would work for that. This stuff is so strong you could probably almost tie a tarp off with it, but I wouldn't want to. As we dive into my bag, you'll see why I wouldn't even have to do that, because I do have paracord and everything in here as well. Super light, super cheap once you buy bulk. Amazon, when you're buying this stuff, Amazon, if you got Prime, you're lucky with Amazon Prime, because then it's free shipping. And you get good deals on stuff. Like I said, these carabiners, I got a whole whack of them for like $7. So, if you guys want, I could dig into this more and give more of a description of, you know, the fishing hooks. I do have a few sinkers in there, but I don't want to carry very many sinkers just because of weight. And I don't carry any bobbers or anything with me because I've done it 1,000 times just for the fun of it. Get a stick, cut a stick down, you know, make sure it's a little flexy, tie a line to it. And if you want to float instead of like a bobber or whatever, you just take a tree and you just cut a little piece of like a stick about, you know, whatever length you want, you know, like 1/2 inch diameter or 1 inch diameter, it doesn't matter. You take your knife and you put a little notch into it and you just wrap it around twice, and it usually stays on. And why carry around extra weight if you don't have to, if nature can provide what you need? So anyways, YouTube, that's what's on the outside of my bag. I will dive into the very first pocket next week, and as you can see, there's a fair bit of stuff in there. You will notice some redundancy in my bag, and a lot of people don't like to have redundancies. I do. Like, I know I've probably got, if you go back once I've done piecing these all together, individual things, I will try to make a playlist of it. I know everybody's into the Ferrocerium rods, and I do have one there. I do have another one that was peeking out here, and you'll see it when I get into it, but I don't know. I've probably got 6 or 7 lighters in here, and if you got a Bic lighter, it just makes life so much easier, and you get like thousands of lights out of these things. Like, I am a smoker, and I know that smoking is bad, but I literally can use the same lighter for months, and as long as I don't lose it. And they just go and go and go. So for weight versus usage and how important fire is, in my opinion, it's worth carrying some lighters. Because like I was saying in the first part of the video, if shit ever hit the fan or anything happened, like, you grab your stuff and go. And I've done it just because, I don't know, it's just fun to do stuff like that. Just grab it and go. Your brain, it actually takes you a little bit of time to like sink into what's happening. And that's why I was saying, like, I have like 1.5 liters of just pure clean water in here already. And when I dive into some of the other things, you'll see some of the food things I have. Not very extreme calories, it's just like pepperonis and, you know, some trail mix and stuff. But it takes time for your brain to adjust. Like, even when I grab this just to go for a weekend and stuff, you get out there and it just, you gotta find your bearing. So you gotta give yourself every advantage that you can. Just simple things like having some fresh clean water before you even have to worry about fighting to try to find some fresh clean water. Like I said, I got the straw in there. I could drink right out of a stream if my brain would, you know, allow me to do it right away. But when stuff happens and you're in a panic situation, you grab and go, and you want stuff to be as easy on you at first as first as it can be, because it takes your brain a little bit of time to adjust. And people, in my opinion, unless they're just better trained, better prepared for life than I am, I don't know. I think that you should make it as easy on yourself as you can for the first few days, if it's going to be longer than a few days situation, because it takes time for your brain to adjust to the situation and what's going on. I know I've said situation a lot, but I don't know. I just get passionate about this stuff, and I know what I know, and a lot of people on YouTube, and I'm going to get hate mail over this, I'm sure. A lot of people are like computer survivalists. They just, because they've watched a bunch of YouTube videos and stuff, and they can put together a bag, but have they ever actually gone out and used it? I have, many, many times. Even before YouTube and all this stuff, I've always had this kind of stuff kicking around. Like, my fishing tackle bag always had extra water, and it always has like granola bars or a couple sticks of pepperoni. Like, pepperoni, you could put pepperoni in here and it'll last for a few years, you know, like, they're well sealed. And even when I used to go ATVing, or when I was into I had a Jeep Cherokee with 35s, and we used to go off-roading like in the middle of nowhere, like every weekend. I had underneath my back seat a Tupperware container, you know, about this big, and in it, it had like 6 fresh bottles of water, like 6 extra lighters, some clean socks, some bandanas, candy, a couple little kits of like, you know, just Band-Aids and stuff. See, it's like even pre-YouTube, I've just always, it's just my mindset for this stuff has always been there, and I'm always the protector too for like people, right? So, I don't know, I always feel responsible for people, and I try to do this stuff not as much only for myself, but for other people. But anyways, YouTube, I've rambled on long enough. This is episode 2 of Bug Out Bag. Any questions, comments, or concerns, or if you think I'm wrong on anything, just leave me a message. Leave a comment in the bottom. Send me an email. My email is somewhere on my YouTube channel. TimmyTuttles@gmail.com. And yeah. See you next week.